The month's trial over, Oliver was formally apprenticed. It was a nice sickly season just at this time. In commercial phrase, coffins were looking up, and in the course of a few weeks, Oliver acquired a great deal of experience. The oldest inhabitants recollected no period at which measles had been so prevalent, or so fatal to infant existence, and many were the mournful processions which Oliver headed, in a hatband reaching down to his knees. One day, Oliver and Noah had descended into the kitchen at the usual dinner hour, to banquet upon some small joint of mutton, actually 1.5 pounds of the worst end of neck. When Charlotte being called out of the way, there ensued a brief interval of time, which Noah Claypole, being hungry and vicious, considered he could not possibly devote to a worthier purpose than aggravating and tantalising young Oliver Twist.
Workus, how's your mother?
She's dead. Don't you say anything about her to me.
Oh, what she die of, Workus?
Of a broken heart. Some of her old nurses told me. I think I know what it must be to die of that.
Toldy roll, right fo Larry, Workus. Oh, what set you a snivelling now?
Not you. There, that's enough. Don't say anything more to me about her. You better not.
Better not? Well, better not? Workus, don't be impudent. Your mother too. She was a nice un, she was. You know, Workus, it can't be helped now. And of course, your mother couldn't help it then, and I am very sorry for it, and I'm sure we all are, and pity you very much. But you must know, Workus, your mother was a regular right down bad un.
What did you say?
A regular right down bad un, Workus, and it's a great deal better, Workus, that she died when she did, or else she'd have been hard labouring in Bridewell, or transported, or hung, which is more likely than either, isn't it?
Crimson with fury, Oliver started up, overthrew the chair and table, seized Noah by the throat, shook him in the violence of his rage till his teeth shattered in his head, and collecting his whole force in one heavy blow, felled him to the ground.
Help! He'll murder me! Charlotte! Mrs! Here's the new boy murdering of me! Help! Help! Oliver's gone mad! Charlotte!
Ow, you little wretch! Ow, you little ungrateful, murderous, horrid villain! Ow!
Oh, Charlotte, what a mercy we have not all been murdered in our beds. Look him in the dust cellar.
Ah, mercy indeed, ma'am. I only hope this'll teach master not to have any more of these dreadful creatures what are born to be murderers and robbers from their very cradle. Poor Noah. He was all but killed, ma'am, when I come in.
What's to be done? Your master's not at home. There's not a man in the house, and he'll kick that door down in 10 minutes.
Dear, dear. I don't know, ma'am, lest we send for the police officers.
No. Run to Mr. Bumble, Noah, and tell him to come here directly and not lose a minute. Never mind your cap. Make haste. You can hold a knife to that black eye as you run along. It'll keep the swelling down.
Noah Claypole rang along the streets at his swiftest pace, and paused not once for breath until he reached the workhouse gate. Having rested here for a minute or so to collect a good burst of sobs and an imposing show of tears and terror, he knocked loudly at the wicket, and presented such a rueful face to the aged pauper who opened it.
Mr. Bumble! Mr. Bumble! Oh, Mr. Bumble! Sir! Oliver, sir! Oliver has...
What? What? Not run away? He hasn't run away, has he, Noah?
No, sir! No! Not run away, sir! But he's turned witches! He tried to murder me, sir! And then tried to murder Charlotte! And then tried to murder Mrs. Oh, what dreadful pain it is! And please, sir, Mrs. wants to know whether you, sir, could spare time to step up there directly and flog him, 'cause master's out.
Mr. Bumble and Noah Claypole betook themselves with all speed to the undertaker's shop. Here the position of affairs had not at all improved. Sowerberry had not yet returned, and Oliver continued to kick with undiminished vigour at the cellar door. The accounts of his ferocity, as related by Mrs. Sowerberry and Charlotte, were of so startling a nature that Mr. Bumble judged it prudent to parley before opening the door. With this in view, he gave a kick at the outside, by way of a prelude, and then, applying his mouth to the keyhole, said, in a deep and impressive tone,
Oliver,
Come, you let me out.
do you know this here voice, Oliver?
Yes.
Ain't you afraid of it, sir? Ain't you trembling while I speak, sir?
No.
Oh, you know, Mr. Bumble, he must be mad. No boy in half his senses could venture to speak so to you.
It's not madness, ma'am. It's meat.
What?
Meat, ma'am. Meat. You've overfed him, ma'am. You've raised a artificial soul and spirit in him, ma'am, unbecoming a person of his condition. As the board, Mrs. Sowerberry, who are practical philosophers, will tell you. What have paupers to do with soul or spirit? It's quite enough that we let 'em have live bodies. If you had kept the boy on gruel, ma'am, this would never have happened.
Dear. This comes of being liberal.
The only thing that can be done now that I know of is to leave him in the cellar for a day or so, till he's a little starved down, and then to take him out and keep him on gruel all through the apprenticeship. He comes of a bad family. Excitable natures, Mrs. Sowerberry. Both the nurse and doctor said that mother of his made her way here against difficulties and pain that it would have killed any well-disposed woman weeks before.
Mr. Sowerberry returned at this juncture. Oliver's offence having been explained to him, with such exaggerations as the ladies thought best calculated to rouse his ire, he unlocked the cellar door in a twinkling, and dragged his rebellious apprentice out by the collar. Oliver's clothes had been torn in the beating he had received. His face was bruised and scratched, and his hair scattered over his forehead. The angry flush had not disappeared, however, and when he was pulled out of his prison, he scowled boldly on Noah and looked quite undismayed. It was not until he was left alone in the silence and stillness of the gloomy workshop of the undertaker that Oliver gave way to his feelings. He had listened to their taunts with a look of contempt. He had borne the lash without a cry. But now, when there was no one else to see or be near him, he fell upon his knees on the floor, and hiding his face in his hands, wept. With the first ray of light that struggled through the crevices in the shutters, Oliver arose and unbarred the door. One timid look around, one moment's pause of hesitation. He had closed it behind him and was in the open street. He looked to the right and he looked to the left, uncertain whither to fly.